Time travel may indeed be possible, and proof could soon be found in a 17-mile tunnel deep underground at the border of France and Switzerland. This is the Large Hadron Collider, a 17-mile-long tunnel designed to smash atoms together in an attempt to recreate conditions that last existed just before the Big Bang, when the universe was less than a trillionth of a second old. Scientists at the LHC are trying to understand what happened in that critical moment to make our universe what it is. In that critical moment to make our universe what it is. By solving this, they hope to shed light on some of the most fundamental unanswered questions in physics. By solving this, they hope to shed light on some of the most fundamental unanswered questions in physics.
With the Large Hadron Collider, perhaps one day we'll be able to answer these cosmic questions. What happened before the Big Bang? Is it possible to go through a black hole? Can you bend time into a pretzel? We're now entering the cusp of human progress. 100 years ago, think how primitive we are. 100 years from now, think of how advanced computers, artificial intelligence will be. Right now, we're at the most interesting point in human history, the cusp, when we're going to rocket through the universe.
A complete understanding of how the entire universe is really constructed might enable future physicists to find a way to manipulate the fabric of space-time itself and travel into the past or future. But can we really manipulate time? But can we really manipulate time? To find out, we first need to investigate time itself. Isaac Newton imagined time as an arrow, always traveling straight forward in one direction. But then Albert Einstein came along and said that time is more like a river that can meander, flow at different speeds, and even eddy back upon itself.
Now we look at a river and we think of the spot on the river where we are is something like the present moment. And then upstream from us is the future. This is coming towards us. It's relentless. It's sort of inevitable. In a moment, what was up there is going to be here. And downstream from us, we can think of as the past. So these are events that have already happened. So there you have it. You've got the future, you've got the present moment, you've got the past.
Is it possible to go against the flow of time into the future, or move even further downstream into the past? To do this, a time traveler would need to bend the fabric of space, connecting two distant points to create a theoretical tunnel through space and time known as a wormhole.
There are two parallel universes. Perhaps it might be possible to build a gateway between these universes, a wormhole, a shortcut, like the looking glass of Alice. Think of Alice in Wonderland. She had a looking glass and she put her hand through it and her hand went to the other side of forever. That is a wormhole.
But could we manipulate the very fabric of time and space?
If we have something called negative matter or negative energy, it might be possible to build a gateway to another universe, a gateway to another point in space or time. Now, of course, in science fiction, we have the dilithium crystals of Star Trek. People talk about spice. People talk about other exotic chemicals that will open these gateways. Well, I'm a physicist. To us, it's negative matter or negative energy. Negative energy we can actually create in the laboratory. That's already been done, but only in microscopic quantities. Negative matter we've never seen before. If we can find a negative matter meteorite in outer space, just perhaps, maybe we can harness it to open a gateway to another universe.
The only problem is the amount of energy required to punch a hole to the other side of the universe is impossible for us to achieve with our current technology.
The trick is to assemble enough positive and negative energy in order to rip open the fabric of space and time. That's really hard. We're talking about the energy of a black hole, the energy of a star, in order to bend time into a pretzel.
Get some of this so-called snow. We think it's snow. Get another chunk here. It's supposed to be snow. Put it here. And let's try to melt snow. Well, ice rather, it's supposed to be ice. And that's what ice usually does. It should be water underneath right now, but as you see, it's not melting. It's going to actually start deteriorating. Look at this. I've never seen anything like this. No water, no condensation, anything. This is not snow. This is crazy. Where is the water? This is not snow. This is crazy. What are they spraying?
We have this blackness coming on it, as though there are particulates in it that are burning black.
Look like a snowball? Yeah. Yeah, well, it doesn't smell like a snowball when you burn it. And can someone please tell me, does that look like fucking snow? And it fucking stinks. I don't know what the fuck kind of smell it is. It's a chemical smell, but I mean, I don't know what the fuck it is.
So, in conclusion, what do we know? We know that the most pure sample that we had here, the distilled water, ice, does drip and does leave a fuel residue on the ice cube and does leave black puddles, soot puddles on the plate. I don't think there's anything that we really have to worry about regarding the strange burning snow. However, I would look into something called ice nucleation. Which NASA is using as part of their weather modification, weather control, geoengineering program. It's a process whereby they seed chemicals into the upper atmosphere in order to freeze water droplets and moisture at much higher temperatures than it would normally freeze at 32 degrees. That's where I think we need to be concerned.
The world is changed. 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 The world is changed.
We're going to look at here is going to be the endothermic reaction. I have in front of you here 2 containers of white solids. The first one here in the Erlenmeyer flask is barium hydroxide. It is a hydrate, so there is water stuck inside the molecule. The other chemical I have then here is in kind of pellet form. This is ammonium nitrate, the NH4NO3.
Planet is heating and the governments are cheating. Children are crying.
Animals are dying. Animals are dying. Children are crying.
Children, come on. The planet is heating and the governments are cheating. Planet is heating and the governments are cheating.
Public Law 105-85 states that the U.S. government can test biological and chemical tests on U.S. citizens. It also states that subjects must give consent. But since this is a public document that was published for the public to see, and the public is not objecting, legally that is considered giving consent. So, whether you realize it or not, ignorance of the law has caused you and me to consent to biological and chemical testing on us and our families, our children, our grandkids. Just unbelievable. Now, with that being said and out of the way, we understand that under this law, the government has taken authority, supposed authority, into testing on us. Let's move on to the snow. Here are the following scientific results of the snow that has fallen recently.
When I asked my friend, who is one of the world's foremost authorities in atmospheric science, about the artificial snow that is falling all over North America, I asked him, what is this aerosol polymer compound? And why was this compound used rather than the normal snow-producing aerosols? After researching the areas being aerosoled, this was the answer he was given. The main uses for a quote-unquote snow, as it is commonly known, are military. He was then cautioned that open-ended conversations on this topic should be strictly avoided. As for the cover story, which I mentioned would come immediately following any information he had for me, if such information is classified, this is what he was instructed to ensure the public. The military applications of snow, quote-unquote, are life-saving and truly beneficial. So I have done a microscopic analysis on this military-delivered artificial polymer snow, as it has been confirmed, and this is what I learned. The first thing that I found truly remarkable was there were polymers in this of different types. There were white sheets of polymers, and entire sheets, and there were holes in these polymers where living organisms had created an effect of expelling gas and creating holes in these polymers like Swiss cheese. In one instance, we see a living organism traveling down this polymer. It gets stuck in this concave hole that another living creature has made when it was dying. It comes out of that hole and comes down only to be swallowed up by the polymer itself. I'm not entirely certain if the polymer itself swallowed this creature, or if the creature just dove down into the polymer, or if it actually was fused with the polymer because something else diabolical was found in this military snow. Depleted uranium, unmistakably, was found in this military snow. One of the reasons for depleted uranium in aerosols that are being sprayed by the military are to fuse living and non-living, animate and inanimate, organic and inorganic particulates together to make a new species, fusing them together to make a cyborg organism. And we are actually able to view this process in this military application snow. Here we can see obvious depleted uranium. It is most definitely depleted uranium. We can see the depleted uranium fusion that was produced into a renucleated new species. This is a mecha organism. Okay, it's a mechanical organism or a cybernetic organism. It is a single cell cyborg. There are polymer producing nanites. The depleted uranium is being used as a catalyst to create this mecha-orga fusion process. And as it happens, these holes are being created in this polymer sheet because methane gases are released. That's part of the reason for the green color in the sky when this is going on. Another reason is for the other organisms that are being aerosoled into the sky. This is what you get when you fuse a single-celled organism with a polymer-producing nanoparticle. A nanocyborg, which is a polymer fiber 3D printer. You've seen those 3D printers. You can actually program it to print out anything. It's the forerunner of Star Trek's replicator. You can give it all the materials it needs down to the very molecular structure and give it a computer program to tell it exactly what to print out, and it will 3D print out anything. That's what these are. These are nano-cyborg polymer fiber 3D printers. They are programmed to print, 3D print polymer fibers. Here we see two large polymer fibers, a newly fused nanocyborg ready to start production right here, a nanocyborg 3D printing polymer fibers right here as it's happening, and a DU nanofusion in process. This green globule goo, I believe it is organic material that is being rained down on us for purposes of making us ill. Here we have more polymer fibers. Here is a more close-up view of a nanite that is creating a polymer fiber. Here is a nanocyborg polymer fiber 3D printer. In the act right now, it's printing out polymer fiber 3D out of both ends. This is a polymer fiber mass following its nanocyborg builder. Ever wonder why we're seeing so many rainbows in strange places? There are countless nanoparticles throughout this military snow, this artificial snow. Here's another polymer fiber. The next thing I found was shiny radioactive barium, which is actually, unfortunately, normal in precipitation now because it's being aerosoled so much by the military. There were polymer fibers all throughout this. One of the organisms that I found is a genetically engineered organism that was discovered in 2010. It's called Pseudomonas syringae, and what it does is it creates freezing at low temperatures, thus destroying crops. Pseudomonas syringae. It was engineered to destroy crops, and it's being rained down on us. And here we see evidence of another reason for this military application, which is life-saving. Okay? Sarcasm alert here. Here we see a desiccated human red blood cell strand. The whole strand right there, still together. These are desiccated human red blood cells. We also see single desiccated human red blood cells by themselves, having broken from the strand. And we have activated human red blood cells that are dividing. So they're not waiting until they fall down on the ground. They're not waiting to activate these for a specific moment in time. They're activating them on the way down. This is for plague purposes. It is for the purposes of an epidemic. These desiccated human red blood cells have been opened up. The shell, the outer shell is opened up, and the nucleus is taken out. It is renucleated with a disease, a replicating disease, and it uses this shell of this blood cell to protect it until it can be injected into whatever host and destroy or debilitate whatever host. This is for epidemic and or pandemic. This is the military's life-saving snow application.